So we'll continue the chapter, that is the second part, empires, and the third theme, that is empire across the three continents. In the first part, we have understood what was its area, who used to govern it, what was the condition of the people, women, everything. Now we will continue with the chapter in the part 2. So the workers were always being controlled. The slaves were considered as an investment. Roman upper class was brutal towards slaves. Agricultural writers advised landowners not to use slaves in contexts where too many might be required, where their health could be damaged. The sympathy not is in consideration but on economic calculations. That means they never wanted people to be safe. They were not even considered as a human being, so nobody was concerned about their health problems, but everybody was considering them as a investment, as a mode in which they have to pay. So they understood that if they will have too many of the slaves and they will die, then they have to again invest in buying a few of them. So if you keep a few, you just use them as much as you can and give them minimum things of the daily usage, so it will be better for them as well as for the person who has appointed them. Now ordinary showed much more compassion towards slaves. As well, warfare became less, the supply of slaves declined. Because war captives were used as slaves, so the user of slave had two choices: use slaves or use wage labor. Free laborers was used extensively on public works of Roman Empire. Extensive use of slave labor was too expensive. Slaves had to be fed and maintained throughout the year. So in later periods, slaves were not used in agriculture. So freedmen were extensively used as business managers. So because in agriculture they need lots and lots of labor, and as the labor was not that much cheap then, so they started using and reducing the number of slaves in the agricultural fields. Masters often gave their slaves or freedmen the capital to run the business or business of their own. Roman agricultural writers paid great attention to the management of labor. Masters believed that without supervision, no work would get done. So, both slaves and freed workers must be supervised. A seal put up on the workman's apron. They have to wear a mask or a net with a close mesh on their head. Before they leave the premises, they have to take off all their clothes. Law of 398 referred to the workers being branded so they could be recognized if and when they run away or tried to hide. In 66 BCE, Jewish revolutionaries destroyed moneylenders' bonds for popular support. We should not conclude that all the workers done by slaves. In late 5th century, Anastasius emperor built a city Dhara with labor offering high wages. Wage laborers became widespread. Social hierarchies. Tacitus, a Roman historian, has described the social hierarchy of the early empire. To him, in the early Roman Empire, senators were at the top. Next were the leading members of quaestorian classes, respectable sections of the people who were attached to the great house was next in the social order. Then was the untidy lower classes, and slaves came to the bottom. In the 4th century, by the time of Constantine I, the senators and equites had merged into an expanded aristocracy, and at least half of the families were of Eastern or African origin. Like senators, most knights were landowners, but unlike senators, many of them involved in business activities like shipping, trade, and banking. The late Roman aristocracy was very wealthy but was less powerful than purely military elites who came entirely from non-aristocratic backgrounds. Next in the social hierarchy was the middle class. It consisted of persons working in bureaucracy and army, prosperous merchants and farmers. According to Olympiodorus, a historian of the early 5th century, the aristocracy based in the city of Roman received annual income of up to 4,000 pounds of gold from their estates. They also consumed grains, wine, and other produce, which, if sold, would have amounted to one third of the income in gold. The income of the households of Roman of the second class was 1,000 or 1,500 pounds of gold. Below the middle class were the vast class, collectively known as humiliers, literally means lower. They consisted of rural laborers, workers in industrial and mining establishments, migrant workers who worked for the grain and olive harvests and building industry, self-employed artisans who were in better condition than the wage workers, a large number of casual laborers employed in big cities, and finally the slaves. Now, senators. Most powerful, they were landowners. There were thousands senators during the beginning of 3rd century. Most of them came from Italy. If we talk about knights, middle class, second most powerful group, they also were landowners. During the late Roman Empire, both senators and knights merged and became unified aristocracy. They were enormously wealthy, but in many ways less powerful than the military elites. In case of middle class, persons in imperial services and military, prosperous merchants, they were peasants, they were part of a great senatorial house, government services, and dependent on the states that sustained these families. The monetary system of the late empire broke with the silver-based currency of the first 3 centuries because the Spanish silver mines were exhausted and government ran out of sufficient stock of the metal to support a stable coinage in silver. Constantine founded the new monetary system on gold, and there were vast amounts of this in circulation throughout late antiquity. His chief innovations were the monetary sphere, where he introduced a new denomination, the solidus, a coin of 4.5 grams of pure gold. He founded a second capital at Constantinople, which is now in Turkey and previously called Byzantium. He decided to make Christianity as the official religion of the empire. The bureaucracy of the late Roman Empire, both at higher and middle level, was affluent, as it drew much of its salary in gold and invested in buying land. There was corruption in the administration of the judiciary and military supplies. The extortion by higher bureaucracy and the provincial governors was common, but the government intervened repeatedly to stop these forms of corruption. Laws were made to put an end to corruption. Historians and other members of the intelligentsia denounced such practices. The Roman emperor were not freed to do anything as they like. By the 4th century, the tradition of Roman law acted as a brake and was actively used to protect civil rights. Because of these laws, powerful bishops could deal with powerful emperors when they were extremely harsh on the civilian population. Late antiquity is the term used to describe the final fascinating period in the evolution and breakup of the Roman Empire, and refers from the 4th to the 17th century. The period saw considerable changes in culture, economic, and administrative levels. The emperor Diocletian abandoned territories with little strategic and economic importance. He fortified frontiers, recognized provincial boundaries, and separated civilians from the military function. He granted greater autonomy to the military commanders, who became powerful. Constantine consolidated some of these changes and added others of its own. The late antiquity period witnessed considerable changes in economic life. Monetary stability and an expanding population stimulated economic growth. Archaeological records shows investments in rural establishments, including industrial installations like oil presses and glass factories, in newer technologies such as screw presses and multiple water mills. The period also saw a revival of a long distance trade. All this led to the strong urban prosperity. There were sufficient changes in the religious life. Emperor Constantine declared Christianity as the official religion of the Roman Empire. 7th century was associated with the rise of Islam. The traditional religious culture of the classic world, both Greek and Roman, had been polythesis. The other religions in the empire were Judaism and Islam. During the late antiquity period, the general prosperity was especially marked in the east. In the Eastern Roman Empire, population was still expanding till the 6th century. Meanwhile, the Western Roman Empire had fallen to the Germanic tribes. The religion at that time, they had many religions. They used to worship Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, Mars as their gods. They worshipped these gods in temples and shrines. Judaism, it was also existed. The Christianism of the empire in the 4th and the 5th century was a gradual and complex process. Powerful bishops lead the church. Decline of the empire. In AD 4th century, the empire was divided into two parts, Eastern and Western Empire. Eastern Roman Empire, it developed, their population was still expanding till the 6th century despite the impact of plague which affected the Mediterranean in the 540s. But Western Roman Empire was attacked by Germanic tribes like Goths, Vandals, Lombards, etc. They took major part of the Roman Empire. Attacks from north by Germanic groups was Visigoths in Spain, Franks in Gaul, Lombards in Italy captured power. The emergence that these new kingdoms marked the beginning of a new period in history, that is medieval period. The East and the West. The general prosperity was especially marked in the East, where population was still expanding till the 6th century despite the impact of the plague which affected the Mediterranean in the 540s. In the West, by contrast, the empire fragmented politically as Germanic groups from the north took over all the major provinces and established kingdoms that are best described as post-Roman. Under the emperor Justinian, empire was united in the east. Later was started between Rome and Iran. Sasanians attacked Rome. Expansion of Islam was a great political revolution. Arabs conquered many places. Thus, Roman Empire declined. The expansion of Islam from its beginning in Arab has been called the greatest political revolution ever to occur in the history of the ancient world. By 642, barely 10 years after Prophet Muhammad's death, large parts of both the Eastern Roman and Sasanian empires had fallen to the Arabs in a series of stunning confrontations. Roman amphitheaters are amphitheaters, large circular or oval open-air venues with raised seating built by the ancient Romans. They were used for events such as gladiator combats, chariot race, animal slaying, and executions. About 230 Roman amphitheaters have been found across the area of the Roman Empire. Early amphitheaters dated from the Republic period, though they became more monumental during the imperial era. The fall of the Roman Empire. Rome had quite a run. First a monarchy, then a republic, then an empire. All roads led to the Rome for over 1200 years. In the Mediterranean, Rome was in charge. Rome had some wonderful emperors. Rome also suffered from the series of bad corruption and just plain crazy emperors. The empire was too large to govern effectively. The army was not what it used to be. There was corruption in the military, dishonest generals and non-Roman soldiers. Civil war broke out between different political groups. Emperors were often selected by violence or by birth, so the head of government was not always a capable leader. The increased use of slaves put many Romans out of the work. The rich became lazy and showed little interest in trying to solve the problems of the Rome. The poor were overtaxed and overworked. They were very unhappy. Prices increased, trade decreased. The population was shrinking due to starvation and diseases. That made it difficult to manage farms and government effectively. The empire starting shrinking. The Huns, Visigoths, Franks, Vandals, and other barbarian tribes overran the empire. So these are the basic reasons why the Roman Empire actually disintegrated. The ancient Romans tried to solve some of their problems by splitting the Roman Empire in half, hoping that would make the empire easier to manage. Each side had an emperor, but the emperor in charge was the emperor of the western half, the half that included the city of Rome. The Western Roman Empire did not do well. Instead of getting stronger, they became weaker. By 400 AD, it was pretty much over. The Huns, the Franks, the Vandals, Visigoths. Any of these barbarian tribes might have been the group that finally brought down Roman Empire. They were all attacking pieces of the Western Roman Empire. In 476 AD, the Visigoths sacked Rome. Europe entered the Dark Ages. The eastern half of the Roman Empire received a new name, the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire did fine and last for another 1,000 years.